Well, welcome back to the First Serve YouTube channel. And wow, what quarterfinals we have just seen on the men's side. Taylor Fritz just had a stunning win. We saw before that Nicolas Basilashvili upset Stefanos Tsitsipas. Cam Norrie is through to the semi-finals, and as is Grigor Dimitrov. Will Taylor alongside Brett Phillips. And Brett, what did you make of the quarterfinals? Some unbelievable results there.
Oh, fantastic results, Will. I mean, you looked at the start of the tournament with no Djokovic in particular. We knew Nadal and Federer weren't playing, and Dominic Thiem's had a really, really tough year. But this was, a great opportunity for Medvedev to back up from the US Open, for Zverev to maybe win another Masters 1000, for Tsitsipas to win another Masters 1000. And they're all gone. And we've got four guys left who are very, very decent players. I mean, we often talk about the extended depth in the women's game. I just feel like more and more opportunities are now opening up in the men's game because the needle has certainly shifted. And of the four left, I mean, Dimitrov's got the best career record for what he's done. But the other three are going to be right there. I mean, Taylor Fritz, I thought that was pretty special today. I mean, he's a Californian. He had that crowd behind him. He saved off match points. His second set was extraordinary, and a great way to close out that second set with his reflex hands at the net. And he deserves his spot. He hung tough. I mean, this is what you got to do against guys like Zverev. You've got to up the ante. You've got to be able to go one step ahead. You can't just be passive. And I thought he was just super aggressive and off the ground. He's very accomplished. I mean, Paul Annacone, I was lucky enough to do a bit of work with Paul Annacone, some commentary going back a few years ago. Probably the best tennis mind that I've met. He's coached Sampras, coached Federer. He's done a lot of work with Taylor Fritz to just get him to that next level. So it's a real reward for a guy who got married very young, had his first child very young, but he's such a mature guy, and he's really starting to flourish now, of all those young American guys who are sort of jockeying for position.
And he'll really believe that he can win the tournament now. I mean, he's got better and better with each match that's gone on. Obviously, he had a game against Berrettini, which was a bit of a shock result. He then backed that up against Sinner, and then to have today's win in really extraordinary circumstances, saving those match points, he now can really believe that he can win. And his opponent for the semi-final will not be Stefanos Tsitsipas. It will be Nicolas Basilashvili, who himself today got through a very tight three-set match. Could have gone either way there. Both players had their opportunities, but it was Basilashvili who came through 6-4 in the final set. What did you make of that particular match?
It seems like the bigger the tournament for this guy, the bigger he performs, because he won his first tour title at 500 level. The one in Hamburg, he's beaten won Dubai, I think, earlier this year. That was at 500 level when Roger came back. He took care of Roger in that tournament. His firepower is unbelievable, but he can also run very hot and cold. As we've seen him inside the top 20, we've seen him dip out. He's had a few things going on off court as well. But like Taylor Fritz today, the biggest win of his career, to beat a guy who's been extremely resilient in Tsitsipas, whether maybe there was just a little bit of fatigue for Stefanos. I mean, he plays more than anyone else on the tour. He's won more matches than anyone else this year, but Basilashvili off the ground is a cracker when it's all coming together. So he'd never won a match at Indian Wells previously, which is quite extraordinary as well. So that's who's going to recover best out of those two.
Yeah.
They both had terrific tournaments. It's a huge opportunity to win a Masters 1000 on the resume. It would just take their games to the next level. So evenly matched. Should be a great semi.
Absolutely. It should be a fantastic semi. And as should our next semi between Grigor Dimitrov and Cam Norrie. Cam Norrie, what a season he's had. He will now be the British number one. I think he's the 18th British number one since 1973. Unbelievable year that he has had, and a very good performance in his quarterfinal over Diego Schwartzman to win 6-love, 6-2 in that particular match. What have you made of Cam Norrie's game and his season overall? He's been fantastic.
It's been a brilliant season. And this is a guy who's just worked really, really hard. I mean, it's sort of like the typical tennis graph, if you like. I mean, since 2016, where his ranking has just incrementally got better and better and better. Everyone goes on a different journey, matures at a different stage. He's now getting some reward for just a really solid game, and he's just tried to, just take each part to another level. There's nothing spectacular. I mean, the lefties, I always love watching the lefties. I think they've got some sort of advantage. It's a bit like the left footers in footy. For those listening around the world, it might be okay with AFL football here in Australia, but the left footers are always so precise. And the lefties, just the way they can swing a serve out wide, particularly to that ad side, and just get their opposition player out of court. He's great off the ground. I mean, he's jumped from 74 to 20 this year, 5 finals. He's won one, of course, in Mexico. So, he's just got a real reward. And up against Dimitrov, he'll fancy himself. I mean, Gregor absolutely will as well. I mean, he's, obviously extremely accomplished, and, really he's the comeback king in this tournament. He's in his last 2 matches from a set down. But Norrie, probably no one's surprised. If you just read even other players' quotes in the last, this year about Cam Norrie, they're just full of compliments for the way he's gone about his tennis, and a pretty popular guy on tour.
Absolutely, yeah, very popular guy on tour. Lots of Australian tennis players are good mates with him. So he, as you say, he'll come up against Grigor Dimitrov, and this has, for me, been the story of the tournament, because we've seen Dimitrov kind of get back to that 2017 Dimitrov form. Obviously, that's been his biggest title to date, winning the Nido ATP finals in 2017. He has regained that form this week. Big wins over Medvedev, obviously, and then to back that up against Hurkacz, who was in really stunning form himself and had a lot to play for, given his position in the race to Turin, Hurkacz. So, yeah, Dimitrov's been fantastic this week as well. How have you seen kind of his return to form? Because he started to really put his game together very well this week.
Well, he's always been one of the most watchable players on tour. I mean, he was nicknamed Baby Fed very young. That beautiful single-handed backhand, can play any shot in the balk, athletic, covers the ground really well. That's when I went to the tour finals was the year he won in 2017. He got to world number 3, played a great week, and you thought, okay, well, the next step is, he's put himself right in the frame to maybe win a major. And we know that's easier said than done in the last 15 years. And then he sort of dipped away for a period because that talent, slightly younger than him, around him, who were coming in underneath, they overtook. We know Grigor had his struggles with COVID there for a little period, but he's lost none of his talent. One of the best guys on tour. Everyone will vouch for that. I mean, his 100th Masters 1000 win against Hurkacz, and he had to deal with the serve. I mean, Hubie's going in the right direction. He's top 10 bound, and he's going to get better and better. The very understated Pole, who take some real learnings out of that match. But no, I think he's just had a really solid career, Dimitrov, and to win the ATP Tour Finals, he has won Masters 1000 events. He's been to semi-finals of Grand Slams. It's a pretty good career in an era where it's been extremely tough to break through and win a major, as we know, in the last 15 years. So I think that would be a really popular victory if he could win the whole thing. He's as good a chance as any of the 4 players remaining.
Absolutely, yeah. Huge opportunity for all 4 players. If you had to give a tip for each semi-final, who are you going for in each match?
Yeah, who's got the legs? It's October. Everyone's starting to feel it, no doubt. But it's a Masters 1000. So the recovery is, going to have to be pretty quick. We know that there's not, like the Grand Slams, always the 2 days off. At some stages of this tournament, there have been the day break in between. But look, Basilashvili for mine, I just think this guy can play the lights out. And if he's on, I reckon he might just have a little too much for Taylor Fritz. But I think very, very tight sets. And then, I'll back in Grigor, but this is hard to call. I mean, these are going to be 2 tight semis. I think there's not much separating the 4 players, but maybe Dimitrov just with a little bit more experience just to play those clutch moments really well. It's a big step up for Cam Norrie to be in a Masters 1000 semi-final. So Dimitrov and Basilashvili for mine to make the final.
And for Cam Norrie in particular, if he were to win his semi-final or even the title, that's huge points for him in the race to Turin. He's still a little bit outside the race, but it's a possibility if he did win this Masters 1000 that he could qualify, which would be an amazing story in itself. So some huge storylines to come.
Well, who would have had that in the script at the start of the year? Cam Norrie making the Tour Finals and being in the top 20. Everyone just would have laughed at you. So these are the things you just can't see from a long way out. But I think men's tennis is in a really, really healthy space, because if you look at, just the last fortnight, I mean, Alex de Minaur finding some good form from an Australian perspective, and he pushed Tsitsipas. He just doesn't have as big a serve as these guys, and that sort of third or fifth shot in the rally, he just can't quite get those easier points that he'd like. I mean, Hurkacz has had another solid tournament. I was keen to see how Casper Ruud was going to go. Been very good at 250 level. Steps up, fourth round of a Masters 1000. Another step in the right direction as he tries to edge and solidify himself inside that top 10. So, lots of takeaways. But, Medvedev, Tsitsipas, Zverev, Berrettini, Rublev, and they're all saying, hey, the next lot's coming thick and fast. They want to take our scalp as much as we've wanted to take Djokovic and Nadal and Federer's scalp. So everyone's chasing, and it's damn tough out there on the men's tour.
Absolutely. Yeah, fascinating to watch men's tennis at the moment. Brett, thank you for joining me. And to our viewers out there, make sure that you join the First Serve on Monday night for a full recap of Indian Wells on the First Serve radio show. Brett, thanks again, and look forward to reviewing the final or previewing the final when we get there after the